the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Let us start with the headlines. As usual, we start with the snippets. The very first one, here it says, 9 killed as bus collides with truck in Mayhar. 9 killed as bus collides with. There's one word here, collide. Collision. Collide is a verb, it's a regular verb. And what is a noun form? Collision is a noun form. But when you see the word collision, collide, from this you have collision. Then we have another word you have to recollect. What is it? Collusion. And you have to think of the verb form, collude. What is the meaning of collude? Collusion. Collusion means join hands with someone with the intention of doing something illegal or harming someone. Collude with someone. It takes a preposition with. Collude with someone, an important word. Collision is different, collusion is different. Collide is different, collude is different. The next one we have here, government keen on causing ecological disaster. Congress on Nicobar project. There is one important phrasal verb. Good morning to all of you. And what is the phrasal verb that is important over here? Keen on. Keen on means interested in. Keen on something. Keen on means what? Interested in. You are interested in something, keen on something. That's an important expression you have to know. The next snippet we have here. "170 dead in Nepal floods after heavy rain." There's one word here, dead. Based on that, you have to recollect, one died. Simple word. But what is the word used over there? Dead. A dead person, part of speech, adjective. And you have to recollect the word deceased person. Deceased also means the same, a dead person. Dead person, deceased person. Died, that is a verb. All these you have to recollect. What has Make in India achieved? What has it achieved? It is in present perfect interrogative form. 10 years later, growth has slowed to 5.5%. What has, both mean the same. Who is this? Nagesh. Keen on, bent on. But generally we say hell bent on. Bent on doing something, hell bent on achieving something. The intensity is different. When I say I'm keen on something, casual. Hell bent on something, hell bent upon something means more of intensity. That is the difference. It's a matter of intensity, to what extent you're serious about something, to what extent you're interested in something. Matter of degree. What has Make in India achieved? Here you have to take these words. Make in India, they should have used inverted commas. What has it achieved? What has Make in India achieved? It is in present perfect interrogative form. 10 years later, growth has slowed to 5.5%. Has slowed. I always tell students, my pleasure, I always tell students, of all the tenses, the most important tense is the present perfect tense. Whether it is writing or speaking, we use present perfect quite often. And to judge a person to what extent he or she is good at English, one tense is enough. To what extent the person uses present perfect. Those are good at English use the present perfect quite often, and those who are not good at English use the past tense quite often. That shows to what extent a person is good at English. And here there is a word that you have to focus on. Later. Why is it important? You have to think of, late has two forms in the comparative and superlative forms. One is a later, and what is the superlative form? Latest. Here single T. And we have latter, double T, pronunciation also changes, and last. These two talk about time and these two talk about position. When you look at the word latter, you have to know again one more word, former, latter. They go hand in hand, they form a pair. What is the difference between former and latter? Former means a first in position, one of the meanings, mind you, because when I say former vice president, the meaning is entirely different. But former, latter. Former means first in position, latter means second in position. And these two are very important. They've given so many times in different competitive exams. One goes with the time factor, single T. Another goes with the position, double T. That you have to remember. The last one, IPL caps earnings for overseas players. Caps means restrict. Now let us go to the main headline. Israel pounds Lebanon, two more Hezbollah leaders among dead. What are the words you can focus on? One, pounds. Another, among dead. I have already given. Pound usually goes, pound means to crush something, to make something powder, pound. But here it means to hit repeatedly. Hit repeatedly, we use the word pound. Pounded by Israeli aircrafts means what? Attacked repeatedly by Israeli aircraft, not aircrafts, aircraft. And pounding, that is the literal meaning to crush something. Among, you have to recollect, think of, among, and what is the other one you have to think of? Amongst. Literally, what is the difference between the two? Very good, Nagesh. When we talk about two persons or two things, we use between. More than two, we use among. But the question is a pertinent question. What is the difference between among and amongst? Amongst is a formal word. That is one difference. Not only that, if the word after the preposition begins with a vowel letter or a vowel sound, we should use amongst, not among. That is important from the exam point of view. Opposition targets CPIM fearing loss of minority votes related to politics. Let us have a look at the snippets over here. BJP expels 8 leaders for going solo in Haryana. Expel, solo. Usually expulsion, expel, it goes with students at the time of college days, exams, malpractice. The students get expelled. That is one meaning. And here, solo. Solo means what? Alone, without any tie-up. This looks really green. Campaigning for last phase of Jammu and Kashmir polls ends. When you think of elections, you have to think of a few words like campaign, canvas, constituency, candidate, forfeit, an important expression, thumping majority, a landslide victory, rigging, all these rhetoric, all the words go with elections. And what is the word campaign? Campaign, canvas. But canvas, you have to think of two words. Single S, it is a cloth, piece of rough cloth used by painters. But double S, it goes with campaigning and elections. What Navy chief visits Greece, discusses ways to boost ties. The moment you see the verb discuss, you have to become alert. As a smart learner, you have to recollect the rule. What is the rule? A common error, a lot of people say, we are discussing about, movies. We are discussing about movies. Answer my question, is this right or wrong? It is wrong. After discuss, we should not use a preposition about. We are discussing politics. We are discussing movies. We are discussing religion. Never use about. Good. Good that you guys have responded. Here it looks like discusses and boost ties, improve ties. This is a particular place in Calcutta, and Bengalis celebrate Durga festival, Dashera, in a big way. It is about that. An environment-friendly puja pandal is being readied using a variety of plants and bamboo ahead of Durga Puja festival. at Lal Bagan Nabankur in Kolkata on Sunday. Everything looks green, green, green. And there is one headline over here: two abducted Manipur youth seek help from Chief Minister. Abducted means what? Kidnapped. Abducted. Two youth abducted, they seek help from the CM. Seek means to look for, to search for. Look for help from Chief Minister. 92% of workers cleaning urban sewers, septic tanks from SC, ST, OBC groups survey. According to one survey, those who clean the septic tanks and sewers, it seems 92%, that is huge, from SC, ST, OBC groups, according to one survey. Coming to states, 5 suspended over wall collapse deaths near Mahakal temple. Simple words. Ranjit Chautala among 8 leaders expelled by BJP for going solo in Haryana. Already have read the snippet. Tamil Nadu cabinet rejig. What is the meaning of the word rejig? Revamp, shuffle, to reshape, rejig. We have got this word a few times, if you guys remember. Stalin gives a plum portfolios to SCs. Plum portfolio, that's an important expression. Here plum means, plum is a fruit, you all know that. But here plum position, plum portfolio means an important one. What does it mean? An important one. That you have to know. IT staffer dies in Nagpur office, emergency care given firm. On the run for 5 days for rape of minor, accused tries to kill self. There is one important idiomatic expression. On the run, someone is on the run means what? Someone has escaped. Police are looking for that person. On the run means to escape. And escape, there is one important word. What is it? What is the word? Flee. Flee also means the same, escape. Very good, Manasa. Escape, flee, on the run. They all mean the same. Accused. I have given so many times. Whenever you look at certain words, you have to think of all the related words. Accusation, allegation, case, plaintiff, defendant, trial, witness, alibi, innocent, acquit, guilty, convict, judgment, verdict. All the words should be at your fingertips. MVA to finalize seat sharing deal by next week says will win 180. Related to polity, not that important. How a new movie is setting the narrative for Maharashtra election. Looks like there is a new movie that is setting the narrative. Narrative means a story. Story, we also use the word narrative. For Maharashtra elections fast approaching. Hemant Soren luring voters with government schemes ahead of poll. Here, lure. Ahead of poll, an important expression you have to remember. But lure means what? To attract. To attract someone with the intention to cheat or to deceive. Then we use the word lure. It has a negative connotation. Badlapur case accused buried in Ulhasnagar. This is related to crime. Anwar goes all out against CPIM leadership. All out, go all out means criticize a lot. LG should focus on curbing crime in Delhi. Curb, we have got so many times. Curb means what? To restrict. Storyteller, that's right. Curb something means what? Restrict something. Entice also you can say. Very good, art world. I appreciate that. Karnataka plans to act on caste census report, says CM. Simple. YouTube channels booked for defaming actor in Kerala. Defame, spoil someone's reputation. And what do we have here? Hydra not to raise houses till Deepavali. We have got this word, we have got recently. Raise means what? Demolish, pull down, tear in. All these go with buildings. Demolish a building, we use word, raise, R-A-Z-E, but R-A-G-E, rage means what? Anger. A lot of anger we use. SIT starts investigation into ghee adulteration complaint. There is one important word here, adulteration. Adulterate means to make something impure. You make something impure, we use the word adulteration. That's an important word. Adulterated food means what? Something that has been made impure. Here, laddu has been made impure. Based on that, the word adulteration has been used. Youth playing football on the Shanmugam beach in Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala on Sunday evening. Leopard scare returns to Tirumala trekking route. There are two words over here. One is scare, trekking. You have to know two words, hiking and trekking. What is the difference? Hiking means go for a long walk in the lowland areas. Usually countryside we use the word hiking. But trekking goes with mountain region, hilly region we use the word trekking. That's what you have to know. And scare. Leopard scare means what? The fear of a leopard. Scare can be a noun, can be a verb. Here it has been used as a noun. It means a fear. Kaveri Aarti to be held in Srirangapatna on October 3rd. Landslide prone areas of Wayanad to come under ESAs. Glaciologist digs deep into permafrost to gauge future climate change disasters. There is one important word here, two words rather. Dig. You all know the word dig, digging the ground, making a hole in the ground, digging. But when an archaeologist does it, we don't use the word digging, we use the word excavation. Excavate, that is a different thing altogether. And permafrost means the solid ice, snow that is permanently frozen. We use the word permafrost. And there is one important word here, usually it is mispronounced. How do you pronounce that? Gauge. Gauge, that's how you have to pronounce. Measure. ADGP probing 2007 mining case, criminal says minister. Excuse me. Simple, easy to understand. That's all about the headlines. We have spent about almost 20 minutes. Now let us go to today's editorial and see what is there to learn. This is today's editorial. Of the two short editorials, this is the second one. It deals with use of nuclear weapons, whether it can be justified, cannot be justified. Today I am going to read out the editorial and touch the important words. But what I would like to tell you guys, when you read the newspaper, say about for 6 months or 9 months religiously every morning and learn a lot of words, you reach a stage where almost all the words in the editorial, you know the meanings, and that gives you immense confidence. This editorial, when you go through, those who have been attending the sessions regularly, they feel very happy because almost all the words, perhaps there's only one word which is a new word, all other words go with effective English, editorial vocabulary, but you have got so many times, one shot you can go through and you can easily comprehend the editorial. Let us see how it starts. Mad doctrine. There's one word here, doctrine. Doctrine means a philosophy. Doctrine. Someone's doctrine means someone's philosophy. Religion, creed, doctrine. All these go with more or less philosophy. A particular plane means thinking, way of thinking. Here it says mad doctrine, means mad philosophy. What is mad here? Using nuclear weapons is nothing but sheer madness, according to the editorial, mind you. How does it start? Any threat of use of nuclear weapons must be viewed seriously. There is a threat given by the Russian president, and based on that, this has been written, that is a stimulus. And what the editorial says, any threat of using nuclear weapons should be considered, must be considered very seriously. We cannot take it lightly, we cannot take it for granted. Must be viewed seriously. It is in passive voice. Must be viewed seriously. We must view something, that is active voice. Something must be viewed, it is in passive voice. And we have got many a time, what is the function of the helping verb must? It has two functions. One, it is used to convey or express a personal obligation, obligation imposed by the writer in this context or the speaker. And what is the other meaning? Must means it is used to convey the idea something is compulsory. Now let us see how it goes. Russian President Vladimir Putin's revision of Russia's nuclear doctrine announced last week is a worrying increase in the war rhetoric surrounding the Russia-Ukraine conflict. We all know Russia-Ukraine conflict has been going on for quite some time. Against that backdrop, Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced the threat of using nuclear weapons, and that should be a cause of worry, according to the editorial. Nuclear doctrine announced last week is a worrying increase in the war rhetoric. We have got the word, all these are familiar words. Why are these familiar words? We have got many a time. Doctrine also we have got many a time. A rhetoric. What is rhetoric? A rhetoric means it goes with public speaking. These are politicians, public leaders. They use certain expressions repeatedly to convince the masses or to sway the masses. Sway means influence the masses. And those dialogues, standard statements, we use the expression a rhetoric. Rhetoric goes with politics and public speaking. Here, the war rhetoric surrounding the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It would be once have been considered unthinkable for permanent members of the UN Security Council to behave in this manner. It would once have been considered unthinkable. What does it mean? Once no one would think of this using a threat like we will use nuclear weapons, and that to a country that is part of UN Security Council, something unimaginable, or a permanent member of Security Council, perhaps unimaginable, unprecedented. But now the Russian president says that. His announcement was that in the event of a conventional attack on Russia by any country that is supported by a nuclear power, Russia would consider that a joint attack and presumably deal with the threat accordingly. What Russia says, imagine there's a situation or a scenario where a particular country attacks Russia, and that particular country has the support of a country that has nuclear weapons. In that case, Russia does not hesitate to use their nuclear weapons. That's what it means. His announcement was that in the event of a conventional attack on Russia by any country that is supported by a nuclear power, means a country attacks Russia and that country has the support of a nuclear power or a country that has nuclear weapons. In that case, Russia does not hesitate to use nuclear weapons. Russia would consider that a joint attack and presumably deal with the threat accordingly. He added that Russia could use nuclear weapons in response to a conventional attack posing a critical threat to its sovereignty. He also said categorically, Russia would use nuclear weapons in case the sovereignty of Russia is attacked or is threatened. There is one important word we have got many a time. What is it? Sovereignty. What is the meaning of sovereign? India is a sovereign country. You guys can respond because we have got these words so many times. Conventional means a traditional, very good. Sashidhar, I appreciate that. Sovereign means an independent country, politically independent country, a country not ruled by any other country. If you take the Indian Constitution, the preamble, introduction, you see, India is a sovereign country, means India is not ruled by anyone. So what Russian president says, in case Russia is attacked by a country that has the support of a country with nuclear weapons, or it is supported by a nuclear power, in that case Russia does not hesitate to use nuclear weapons to protect its sovereignty. That is objective. A threat that was repeated by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov at the UN General Assembly meet over the weekend, when he said the idea of defeating Russia on the battlefields is senseless and a suicidal escapade. Not only the Russian president but also the minister, foreign minister, both of them reiterated the same thing. The foreign minister reiterated the same idea at the UN General Assembly meet over the weekend, when he said the idea of defeating Russia on the battlefield is senseless and a suicidal escapade. If you guys remember, when I started, I said this particular editorial, almost all the words are familiar words, but for one, that is this word. What is the word here? Escapade. Escapade we have got for the first time. This is the word, only one word that you have to refer the dictionary. Escapade means an act of excitement or adventure. You do something out of excitement or you do something that is adventurous. Then we use the word escapade. So the Russian foreign minister says attacking Russia in the battlefields is senseless, one thing, and a suicidal escapade. Suicidal. When do we use this expression suicidal? What you do is suicidal. Means what? Imagine a particular country has nuclear weapons. It attacks another country that also has nuclear weapons. That based on that we can say the attack by the first country is suicidal, because the moment this country uses nuclear weapons, the other country also uses nuclear weapons, and both the countries get wiped out. That is nothing but suicidal. That's what it means in this context. And a suicidal escapade given that Moscow has nuclear weapons. Why is it going to be a suicidal escapade? Because Moscow has nuclear weapons, because Russia has nuclear weapons. Clearly, the context of Mr. Putin's nuclear doctrine revision and the comments in Ukraine President Zelensky's visit to the United States, where he attempted to present a new victory plan for Ukraine. Why all these things against which backdrop? Against the backdrop of Zelensky presenting a victory plan on his visit to the United States, where he attempted to present a new victory plan for Ukraine. Mr. Zelensky wants the permission of the US and other Western countries to use missiles and other heavy weaponry procured. This also we have got many a time. Procure means what? To obtain. Procure the material, procure the weapons means obtain the weapons from them for attacks deep inside Russia. The backdrop is the Ukrainian president Zelensky wants to use a weaponry obtained from the US, which is a country with nuclear weapons, to attack Russia deep inside. Against this backdrop, Russia has made a statement. In case any threat to its sovereignty, it does not hesitate to use the nuclear weapons. Thus far, you can also say so far, the weaponry, including Storm Shadow and ATACMS missiles, can only be used for Ukraine's defense. Till now, so far, thus far, these weapons can be used only for defense. When Russia attacks the Ukraine, to defend themselves, they can use. But now it has changed. Now Ukraine wants to use these not for defense, for offense. It wants to use the same weapons to attack Russia, deep inside Russia. Based on that, the Russian president's statement. Although Western capitals turned a blind eye when Ukrainian forces invaded the Russian oblast of Kursk in August with tanks and weaponry, allowing Mr. Zelensky to rack up a symbolic win and possibly some leverage in future negotiations for peace. They have already done it, and based on that, the Western powers, they simply ignored, turned a blind eye. An important expression you have to. When the Ukrainian forces entered, the Western powers ignored. Turn a blind eye means what? Ignore. Very good, Nagesh. And based on that, Zelensky got an advantage, and also this advantage he can use when it comes to negotiations with the Russians. Hitting with Russia, hitting back NU, sending in troops to Kursk, and also opening a new front around Ukraine's Pokrovsk, and Western countries remaining loath to enter the theatre of war. Loath. Loath means what? This also we have got many a time. I find something loathful, means what? Disgusting. I don't want to look at it, I don't want to do that. Then we use the word loathful, loath, something that is disgusting or repulsive. Western countries are remaining loath to enter the theatre of war. They don't want to get involved, they turned a blind eye. To that end, US President Joseph Biden has now announced nearly $8 billion in additional military aid for Ukraine, but made no reference to the demand for its utilization inside Russia. He has given that 8 billion, but has made no condition, has made no demand for its use in Russia. No reference to the demand for its utilization inside Russia. The second part talks about what? It remains to be seen whether Mr. Putin will be assuaged. This word also we have got so many times. Please respond. Assuage means what? Repugnant. Mahidar, very good. Loathsome, repugnant, disgusting. Here, assuage, alleviate, mitigate. I always tell students, when you come across any of these words, you have to think of other words. Assuage, alleviate, mitigate. Reduce the intensity of something. Here, it remains to be seen whether Mr. Putin will be assuaged, or if concerns about the war reaching a nuclear threshold means a peak, will grow from this point on. And it is hoped countries, including India, that have committed to finding a path to dialogue and peace, redouble their efforts to prevent such a catastrophe. To prevent this, countries, those who wanted peace, that includes India, they should go forward and have to do something to stop this catastrophic event. Catastrophe means what? Usually we use it with disasters, a natural disaster, a mishap, unfortunate incident. Catastrophe means what? An incident that causes damage on a large scale. We use the word catastrophe. So they have to double their efforts to find peace, finding a path to dialogue and peace. Redouble their efforts to prevent such a catastrophe. New Delhi has said that it conveyed messages to Moscow when safety concerns grew over the Zaporizhia nuclear plant. Prime Minister Narendra Modi may be called on to do the same when he visits Russia in October for the BRICS summit. Our Prime Minister is going to visit Russia in the month of October to attend the BRICS summit. There also he has to pitch in for peace and redouble the efforts for peace and dialogue, path to dialogue. Very important. As the world grapples with an important expression, though we have got many a time. Grapple with means what? Struggle with. It goes with problems, hardships. Grapple with problems, grapple with hardships. Grapple with, an important expression. As the world grapples with the spectre of, even this we have got many a time. Spectre has two different meanings. One meaning, spectre means ghost, spectre. But spectre in this context means a threat of the nuclear war. As the world grapples with the spectre of escalation in West Asia, the threat of the escalation in West Asia, the last thing it needs is a reversion to chilling Cold War scenarios in Eurasia of mutually assured destruction. You need a bit of background information to understand the last sentence. Right now, the world is grappling with a lot of problems. One in the West Asian region, another mid-Eurasia between Russia and the Ukraine. And against this background, as the world grapples with the specter of escalation in West Asia, threat of escalation in West Asia, the last thing it needs, what is the last thing the world needs, is a reversion to chilling Cold War scenarios in Eurasia. Chilling in this context means threatening, scary, chilling Cold War scenarios. What is this Cold War? I don't know how many of you know. Before, in the past, it was a bipolar world. Only two powers, one the USA, the other USSR. Bipolar world. During the Cold War time, there was a Cold War between the USA and the USSR. And what is this Cold War? Both the countries had nuclear weapons, and both the countries always on toes, alert to prevent any disaster. And there was a war, but not open, Cold War. And we cannot go back to those times. Now it is a unipolar world. Though Russia is there, not to that extent, no longer that powerful. It is a unipolar world. There's only one superpower. Which one is that? The USA. So it says, the editorial ends on the note that reversion to chilling Cold War scenarios is not advisable. And if at all they do that, what will happen? Mutually assured destruction. Obviously, mutual destruction. Any country, all the countries with nuclear weapons resort to war, it results in mutual destruction. It is going to be suicidal. That's all about today's editorial. See, today I have done it differently because almost all the words except one particular word, familiar words and familiar phrases. This is a stage where you have to reach, and this stage gives you immense confidence. Except the word escapade, which means an adventurous action or an adventurous thing, something that you do involving adventure, we use the word escapade. But for that word, all other words, all other expressions, quite familiar, we have got so many times, and should make you very confident and should be able to understand or comprehend the entire editorial. One reading should not be a problem. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched. Have a nice day, and do remember, after the session, today because I have done value addition, there is no PDF as such, but whenever you get a PDF, try to access and work on important areas. That will help in the long run. Thank you.